All right, so since we decided not to reject H0, we could have made a type 2 error, which means we failed to reject the null when it really is false. If we did, this means that the dissolved oxygen level mu in the stream is actually less than 5 milligrams, but we didn't detect that in our significance testing, which means it's actually lower than what it can be or should be for aquatic life to be good, but our test did not detect it, which could be a problem because then that means aquatic life would not make it if the dissolved oxygen level is too low in the stream. Sometimes with the data we're going to have two-sided tests, just like we do with proportions. In this example, it talks about at Hawaii Pineapple Company, managers are interested in the sizes of the pineapples grown in the company's fields. Last year, the mean weight of the pineapples harvested from one large field was 31 ounces. New irrigation system was installed in the field after the growing season. Managers wonder whether this change will affect the mean weight of future pineapples grown in the field. To find out, they select the weight of a random sample of 50 pineapples from this year's crop. The Minitab output below summarizes the data to determine whether there are any outliers. Well, the fact that we took a random sample of 50 means that if n is greater than 30, then we're okay to use the normal procedure. So we don't really have to, worry about that condition not being met. They told us that before, so they're assuming that the population is still 31 ounces unless our value differs from our sampling. Just to make sure you can read this, this is n, the number of my sample. Here's our mean. This is our standard error of the means. Remember, standard error of the means takes the standard deviation and divides it by the square root of n. That's the standard error of the means. So to get that value, all they had to do is take the standard deviation and divide it by the square root of 50, would have given you that value. And you didn't have to do it, the Minitab outputs it for you. They give you your minimum, your Q1, your median, your Q3, and your maximum. And they want you to determine whether there are any outliers. Remember that an outlier is anything that lies 1.5 times the IQR, right, past Q1 or Q3 in either direction. So IQR is the difference between Q3 and Q1. So we get 34.115 minus this 29. All right, so if I pull up my thing, 34.115, I think, minus 29.99. Let's see, 29.990. Alright, so 990, push enter, and the IQR is 4.125. Remember, I have to multiply that by 1.5. And so anything that's more than 6.1875 from Q1 or Q3 is considered an outlier. So if I go back here, that number is 6.1875. So I take my Q1, 29.990 minus the 6.1875. Alright, so 29.990 minus that value gives me 23.8023. We just have to make sure that that's further past where my minimum is. And then I'm going to take this 34.115 and add to it the 6.1875. So I'm going to capture that so I don't have to retype it in. And 40.3025. We need to make sure our maximum is not past this. So all of our values have to be in here. So the minimum can't be lower than this and the maximum can't be higher than that. Notice that my maximum is below that and my minimum is above the number, so there are no outliers in our data set like they asked us to check on. So here's our, they show you how you got it, they added and subtracted. Notice here's the two values we got. Again, minimum and maximum are both within that range, so there are no outliers. Alright, so looking at a two-sided test, it doesn't matter if we think the mean, if the actual pineapples are smaller or bigger than the 31 ounces, we just want to know if it differs, so we have a not equal to in our alternative, which this right here makes it a two-sided test. Remember that this makes it a two-sided test, and you have to double your p-value. Lots of you forgot to double your p-value in the last section. So remember, if it's two-sided, your p-value you must double it. And they go on to say, state what the mean is equal to, and then they're ready to go on to the plan portion.